I'm trying to give y'all some, what did Jay-Z say?
I'm like, it's mine, but I'm trying to get $2 million for the game because I'm money now.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Ginger Spice Show. It is your hostess with the mostest, your not so typical school psychologist, Ginger. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. I hope you get what you're looking for on my channel. And if you're coming back and you are a part of the family, hey love, how are you? How's it going? How's your week been? In today's video, we'll be discussing all things undergrad. Yes, undergrad, before I get into telling y'all about what my Howard experience was like. I'm gonna talk a lot about how I went about creating my major, why I even decided that I wanted to create a major, and what UConn was like, what that experience was like for me all 4 years up there in Storrs. So if that's what you're looking forward to seeing, stay there. I'm here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the button. You know what it is. You know what the deals are. I know you want to come back here. That's why you're back. Okay, so I don't think I told you all in my first video that I went to the University of Connecticut for undergrad. Go Huskies. I graduated in 2017. This picture, lovely picture of me, is from my graduation. While I was at UConn, I created an individualized major in urban youth development and health. I double minored in psychology and human development and family studies. If you would ask me where I was going, it was never UConn. Like, it was never on my list as I was applying to schools, like thinking about schools, thinking through that process. UConn wasn't there. As I got to my senior year, I realized, like, hey girl, you need some safety schools. So UConn was definitely a safety school for me. Kind of was like, okay, you know that you're gonna get in. You're from Connecticut, so it's gonna be fairly cheap. I had in-state tuition. I had a lot of scholarships and grants. It was a really amazing package. So that's really why I ended up at UConn, because of the money. Like, the coin makes a difference, okay? So think about that as you continue to go forward. The coin makes a difference. When I got to UConn, I thought that I knew myself. I thought that everything was gonna happen wham bam glam because I'm Janadra. I'm me, right? Everything's gonna go perfect. Baby. It did not go perfectly at all. I got to college, thought that I knew what I knew, and was like, okay, we're gonna major in math. We're gonna be on a pre-med track because you wanna be a pediatric ophthalmologist. Clearly, that didn't go the way that I thought it would, the way that I wanted it to, because I'm on a whole different path of life now. But that's not to say that for you, if you're watching this and you are on the bio track, if you are on the pre-med track, if you are doing whatever it is that you know that you should be doing, I know that God's got you. So that's what mattered. But God has something different in store for my life. So I got to UConn, math, pre-med, taking all these science classes, taking all these math classes, and I hated it. My first semester of undergrad was the worst semester of school, the worst schooling, the worst experience of school I ever had, ever. At that point, I was about 17, just had turned 17, on my own for the first time, in control of my life. I really tried to stick it out. Like, I really tried to continue on this path, failing on my classes, struggling, and I'm like, had an advisor, my math advisor, tell me like, hey girl, this ain't for you. Like, I don't know what you about to do, but this ain't it for you. And I was discouraged. I was kind of like taken aback, because it's just like, sir, you can't say that. Like, can you say that to me? I don't think you should be able to say that to me. But whatever, so taken aback, just like, I gotta do it. This is what I told myself I wanted to do. This is it. This is how life is gonna go. It ain't no other way. And when you try to plan for your life like that, God is gonna look at you and laugh. God looks at me and laughs to this day. Like, to this day, when I try to plan and be like, this is it, God looks at me and he laughs. Like, I know he be up there cackling, because what I thought was the journey that I was supposed to be on, what I thought was supposed to be my life, what I thought was supposed to be my experience, was not that. So my first year of undergrad, I dropped courses, I failed courses. It was terrible, y'all. So 2014, that summer, I didn't do anything because I was lost. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do. A lot of my life had been focused around my education and being a star student. What was I gonna do with F's? So I had a lot of reconfiguring to do. Sat down and planned it out. I'm like, okay, I failed this class. I gotta take this class next summer. I gotta do this. Still planning, still thinking like, oh yeah, Janadra, because this is what you wanna do, it's gonna go that way. Mind y'all, he's still up there laughing at me. Spent the whole summer doing nothing, right? Sophomore year, still being a fool. Like, still, I'm really still trying to tough it out because this is what I wanted. My second semester, sophomore year, dropped my math major. I'm still on the pre-med track, like trying to tough it out. So I'm undecided at this point. And I'm just looking through all of UConn's majors. I'm like, what do you like to do? Really trying to figure out who I am, what it means to be me, what that journey looks like. I'm looking. I'm just like, there is nothing here that I like to do. So then I stumble into like the ACEs department, which is for like undecided and students that are undercleared, and like those are like the pre-programs that they have. I end up there because I dropped my major and didn't have a major. And I sat in an advisor session. I was just like, I'm interested in like this, and this. And they kind of were just like, okay, did you think about an individualized major? Didn't know what that meant. They just were like, okay, go look at the program. If you have any questions, come back. That's what I went and did. So I went to my room, looked it up, set up an appointment with the advisor for the Individualized Major program. So when I did that, I went and sat with him, and he really helped me to decide.
You take these courses, you can do this, you can dabble in all of this.
And I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. An individualized major that I can create and learn about everything that I'm interested in. So as I sat and did that with the man, it came to fruition, kind of like, okay, I'm interested in Black students. I'm interested in the Black experience. I'm interested in learning about the lack of resources that Black students and Black people have in America. I'm interested in education. I'm still interested in health. So I had already been working at the African American Cultural Center on UConn's campus. One of my favorite places on UConn's campus, my saving grace for my 4 years at UConn. Like, the African American Cultural Center changed my life. And that's on like period. Like, the people that I met there, the experience of being at a PWI but having and seeing all this Black excellence, realizing that the Black experience is one that we all have experienced, whether coming from the hood, whether coming from the suburbs, all being here at UConn, and like realizing like this experience is one that needs to be explored. This experience is one that needs to be told. That's where urban youth development and health came from. So I told this all to this man, and he was just like, boop, 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 here we go, this is your thing. So at that moment in time, y'all, I'm still, like, when I tell y'all hard-headed and stubborn, like, still working. Still like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on the pre-med track, I'm still doing this thing. Summer of 2015, I had an internship with the Police Athletic League, and when I tell y'all, that experience changed my life. So I was working with a group of 13-year-olds, and the camp's intention was to basically be a camp where they were doing like athletic stuff to keep them healthy, but they were also supposed to be doing academic stuff as well. In this program, there was this one day when I tell y'all, these students drove me up the wall. Like, I had never experienced that before. Mind you, I'm 19 at this time, working with some 13-year-olds. They all going through puberty. When I tell you that one day, I almost like blew up on these children. I remember I sat in the hallway, and my supervisor at the time, a police officer from the Yale Police Department, he came up to me. He's just like, you really, like, you can't let them get to you like this. Because they were like my siblings, my little cousins. Like, I felt so deeply, and it's like, I'm giving y'all my all, and y'all gonna play in my face like this? That's what y'all gonna do? So I had enough. But when I went home that night, I realized, like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like, that feeling of passion and anger that I had for these students, because I wanted more for them in that moment than they could see for themselves, really, for their lives, was what I wanted for the rest of my life. That fall, this is the fall of 2015, the beginning of my junior year, I sat in a physics class because y'all, hard-headed, your girl is hard-headed. I sat in that physics class thinking back to the summer, thinking back to what I was doing, thinking back to the chemistry class I took that summer that I hated, that I dreaded. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Like, this is not fun for me. I don't like it. I don't care about this stuff. I sat right in that front row on my laptop and dropped the class. And I didn't look back.
Eventually,
I had to go through the process for my individualized major. So there is an actual process that you have to go through. You have to sit with the advisor of the program and map out what your program would look like. So you look through all of the majors that UConn has, all of the courses that those majors offer, and you pick a list of courses. I think it's about 36 credits that you need for your major, and you have to pick courses that align with the title of your major. And I will drop an image right about there so you guys can see all the list of classes that I took. So once you do that, you have to identify 3 advisors. So 3 professors that are in either the departments that you're taking classes in or that are interested in being your advisor for your program. I had to reach out to them and basically be like, hey, I'm Janadra. I want to do this major. Can we sit down and talk about you possibly being an advisor for me? So I had to sit down in front of these 3 strangers and tell them why this is what I wanted to do, what the major was, and really have to explain about and advocate for urban youth development and health. So thanks be to God and my creative spirit and my ability to advocate for myself. All 3 of them did say yes, that they were on board with my major. So from there, I had to sit in front of a panel. So you have, like, this is a whole process. Like, it's not just like, oh yeah, willy-nilly, like, I want to go create a thing. Like, it's harder than picking a major and sticking on that path. Like, you really have to want it for 1, do the work for 2, and then see it through the process, because it was a whole process, y'all. So for the panel, you have to present what your major is, how you came to wanting to be in that major, why it's necessary, what your career trajectory looks like. And it's about 7 professors from different disciplines, because it is an interdisciplinary studies program. And then they ask you questions, and it's very daunting because look at me, little black girl. It's my junior year. I'm 19 years old. And they're asking me all these hard questions about who I'm gonna be when I'm 23, what I'm gonna do in the future. And I'm just like, I'm making it up as I go along. I'm faking it till I make it, to make it make sense to them. And they loved it. They loved it, y'all. When I got the call that my major was accepted, when I tell y'all I bust out crying, I was in tears because of how much work and how much dedication needed to go into this major. Like, when I started it, I didn't know that that's what it took. I didn't know that that would be the process. I didn't know that that's what was necessary to have an individualized major. By second semester, baby, I was in there like doing research, trying to figure out, trying to find my way into everybody's lab, into doing this so that I could bump my resume up, because college, networking, you need to network. You need to find people who are doing the things that you're doing so that you can build a network of people that can, 1, vouch for you, 2, help you get to the next place. So I was working with one of my advisors. Actually, I did research in his lab on the factors influencing health behaviors of young African Americans. So that boosted my interest in research. My time at UConn definitely built my research interest and built my wanting to do research and my wanting to learn more about the populations that I was interested in servicing. And overall, like, my time at UConn and being a student at a PWI, black student at a PWI, really was amazing. Like, in the beginning, it was rocky. I tell everybody in the world that in the beginning, because I was so hard-headed, because I thought that what I wanted to do was what I needed to do, there was no change in that, no coming back from that. It was rocky for the first, 2.5 years. But once I listened and realized like what I was interested in, who I was, and like finding myself while I was at UConn, my journey towards where I am now became that much more easy. It became that much more about loving what I did and loving what I learned and loving the courses that I was taking, to being interested, like actually interested, like being excited to go to class because you read a story about a Black girl whose story was like yours, seeing yourself in the text. That was inspiring to me. That's why urban youth development and health came to fruition, and that's why I am where I am today. So no matter what you major in undergrad, no matter what you start out as, whatever, like your journey, that's the one thing that is important to know. Like your journey in undergrad will not dictate or define who you are. What am I, 3 years down the line? Like, that's not it. Like the little bit of stuff that you do in undergrad, the lot of bit of stuff that you do in undergrad is not a defining factor for who you will be in the future. Your GPA, yes, it matters, but don't nobody care. Like, yes, do your work, pass your classes, but it's about the network. It's about who you know. It's about what you know. Like, I know my major back in my hand, but I graduated with a 2.9. People, like, for me, that was the end of the world. Like, when I tell y'all, my first semester, my first year of college, like, broke me. That 2.9, like, it still sit on my chest sometimes. I'm like, dang, I could have did a lot better. But I'm still here, though. I still got a master's degree, though, right? So, like, keep that in mind. Like, your journey is your journey. My journey was my journey. It happened to have a lot of waves, ebbs and flows, like a lot of things going on. But at the end of the day, what you do in undergrad is just starting to build the foundation for who you are.
2,000 years later.
I'm here, like I said, trying to give y'all the answers that I wish I would have known, I wish I would have had when I was in undergrad. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Ginger Spice Show and hearing about my experience as a student at the University of Connecticut. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you got a little bit of something from it. Next week, we'll be talking about all things how I got from urban youth development and health to school psychology. Where's the bridge? What does that look like? All things why I chose school psychology and what it means to be a school psychologist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the button, hit it, hit the bell. You know you want to come back here. You know you're interested in hearing more about what I have to say, and I'm interested in giving it to y'all. So thank you, and I'll see y'all next week on the next episode of the Ginger Spice Show.